Thomas was a 32-year-old man living in a small town where factories operated day and night. He worked as a night security guard at a large warehouse, starting his shift at 8 p.m. and returning home at 6 a.m. every day. Thomas's life was extremely difficult. He lived in a cramped room with a broken fan, a flickering light bulb, and an old mattress placed on the floor. His small salary was barely enough to survive day by day. But what hurt Thomas the most was not poverty. It was the feeling of being trapped in a life with no future. Every morning on his walk home, he saw families having breakfast together, children preparing for school, and men in clean shirts heading to office jobs. Thomas often wondered if his life would always remain this way. He had tried to change by applying for better jobs, but because he had only finished high school, every door seemed closed to him. Even though he worked hard every night, his life never moved forward. Thomas felt as if he was living opposite to the rest of the world, sleeping while everyone else was awake and staying awake while everyone else slept. Deep inside, he believed there had to be another way to change his life. One cold November morning, just after finishing his shift and preparing to head home, Thomas's phone suddenly rang. It was a call from his younger sister in their hometown. Her voice trembled with worry as she said, "Thomas, you need to come home immediately. Mom just collapsed and is in the hospital." Thomas's heart nearly stopped. Without hesitation, he took the first bus back to his small village. After what felt like an endless 3-hour journey, Thomas arrived at the clinic where his mother was being treated. She lay weakly on an old bed, her face pale, yet she still tried to smile when she saw her son. The doctor explained that she had collapsed from exhaustion caused by overwork, poor nutrition, and prolonged stress. Thomas held his mother's thin, calloused hands. In a weak voice, she whispered, "I don't have much time left. Don't live a hopeless life like mine. Find a way to change your future." Those words hurt Thomas more than anything else. He realized he had worked tirelessly for years, but still could not give his, but very few were willing to take action. Then he took out a notebook and began explaining to Thomas the 5 a.m. system. Mr. Chun drew a simple house and said, "Your life is like a house falling apart because you only focus on surviving instead of building a foundation for your future." He explained that the hours between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. were the time people built the foundation of their lives. He divided those 2 hours into 2 clear parts, from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m., learning new skills such as accounting, Excel, foreign languages, or any skill that could improve income. From 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., training the body and mind through exercise, walking, reading books, and planning the day ahead. Before ending the meeting, Mr. Chun gave Thomas a 90-day challenge and told him that success only comes to those disciplined enough to stay consistent every day. The next morning, exactly at 5 a.m., Thomas's alarm clock rang inside his small dark room. His whole body ached after working through the night. His mind flooded with excuses to keep sleeping. "I'm too tired, just for today." But then Thomas remembered his mother lying in the hospital, the promise he had made to himself, and the challenge Mr. Chun had given him. He forced himself out of bed despite feeling completely exhausted. The first few days were incredibly difficult. Every morning, Thomas sat in front of his old phone, his eyes burning with sleepiness, trying to watch free Excel and accounting tutorials on YouTube. Many times he could not understand the lessons. His mind felt tired, and he wanted to quit. But little by little, he kept going. After an hour of studying, Thomas went outside and walked around the neighborhood in the peaceful early morning air. At first, he treated it like an obligation, but gradually he began to love the calm feeling of watching the sunrise and seeing the empty streets. After exercising, he spent more time reading articles about accounting and writing down important notes. Day after day, Thomas repeated this routine without missing a single morning. Even though he still felt tired and lonely, he began to sense a change within himself. He was no longer living merely to survive. He was slowly building a better future through discipline and persistence. About 3 weeks after starting his 5 a.m. journey, Thomas noticed something strange. One morning, he woke up before the alarm even rang. His body was gradually adapting to the new lifestyle, and the constant exhaustion he once felt began to disappear. For the first time in years, Thomas felt he was truly in control of his life instead of just struggling to survive. The Excel and accounting lessons that once seemed confusing now became clearer. Thomas learned how to create spreadsheets, use formulas, and manage basic data. He completed his first online course and felt incredibly proud. During his morning walks under the sunrise, he experienced a sense of peace and positive energy he had never felt before. After 2 months of consistency, Thomas had changed tremendously. He lost weight thanks to exercising daily. His mind became sharper, and he felt more confident communicating with others. His co-workers at the warehouse also noticed the difference. They saw that Thomas looked healthier, happier, and more energetic than before. When people asked for his secret, he simply smiled and said, "I'm changing my life one morning at a time." Thomas didn't stop at learning. He began applying his new knowledge to his work. He created an Excel spreadsheet to manage warehouse inventory, making everything more organized and efficient. When his supervisors saw it, they were genuinely impressed. That moment opened the door to a life-changing opportunity. On the 87th day of his self-improvement journey, Thomas was called into the manager's office. As he walked into the familiar small room, he assumed he was just being assigned more work as usual. But this time was completely different. The manager looked at Thomas with admiration and said the company was expanding its accounting department and needed someone who understood warehouse operations. The Excel and accounting skills Thomas had taught himself over the past few months had caught management's attention. The manager smiled and said, "We reviewed the inventory management system you created. It has made the work much more efficient. We want to offer you a new position in the accounting department." Thomas stood frozen, unable to believe his ears. Just 3 months earlier, he had been an exhausted night guard living in despair, unsure where his future was headed. Now he was being offered an office job with double the salary and daytime working hours. On the way home that day, Thomas felt that his life had truly turned a new page. What moved him most was realizing that everything had started from one small decision: waking up at 5 a.m. every day and refusing to give up. That evening, Thomas immediately called Mr. Chun to share the good news. With emotion in his voice, he said he had completed the 90-day challenge without missing a single morning. Mr. Chun remained silent for a few seconds before gently replying, "I knew you could do it, because you chose to change while life was at its hardest." 1 year after beginning his 5 a.m. journey, Thomas's life had completely transformed. From being a poor night security guard who constantly felt hopeless, he became the chief accountant at the same company where he once worked security. His stable income allowed him to move his mother to the city and take better care of her. He rented a clean, spacious 2-bedroom apartment, something he had never even dared to dream of before. Even after achieving the success many people dream about, Thomas kept his habit of waking up at 5 a.m. every morning. To him, those quiet hours were no longer a challenge, but an essential part of his life. Every morning, Thomas spent time learning new software, reading business books, and planning for the future. He understood that success was not a final destination, but a daily process of self-improvement. Many coworkers were surprised that Thomas still maintained such a strict routine even after achieving a stable and successful life. When they asked why he continued waking up early, Thomas simply smiled and said, "Success isn't something you achieve once, and then it's over. It's what you do every day." Thomas's story became an inspiration to many people around him. He proved that with discipline, persistence, and the ability to use time wisely, anyone could change their life. Everything started with one small decision: waking up earlier to build a future instead of continuing to delay it. Thomas's story carries a powerful message. Anyone's life can change if they are willing to change themselves first. Thomas had no money, no college degree, no connections, and no privileged beginning. The only thing he had was the determination to wake up at 5 a.m. every day and slowly build his future step by step. What made Thomas special was not luck or extraordinary talent. The real difference was how he used the hours when most people were still asleep. Between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m., while the world remained quiet and free from distractions like phones, social media, or work, Thomas focused entirely on self-improvement. Those silent hours created the greatest transformation in his life. The story also shows that success does not happen overnight. It is built through small actions repeated every day. By consistently learning new skills, taking care of his health, and maintaining discipline for 90 days, Thomas stepped into a completely different life. The final message of the story is clear: a person's future is determined by their daily habits. If you want to change your life, you must first change how you use your time. Success does not begin with something huge. It begins with waking up earlier, acting earlier, and staying consistent every day. At the end of the story, Thomas wanted to give everyone the same challenge Mr. Chun once gave him. He believed anyone could change their life if they were determined enough to begin with small daily habits. According to Thomas, the most important first step was waking up at 5 a.m. and using that quiet time for self-development. Thomas advised everyone to set their alarm for exactly 5 a.m. tonight, not 5:15 or 5:30. He believed getting out of bed immediately when the alarm rings is the first victory of the day. After that, each person should choose one skill to focus on learning consistently for 90 days. It could be a language, technology skills, accounting, business, or anything that could improve their future. Alongside studying, Thomas also emphasized the importance of sleep. He believed many people fail not because they lack ability, but because they waste their evenings on phones, movies, and social media. To wake up early, people must first learn to sleep on time and protect their rest. Thomas did not promise that waking up at 5 a.m. would turn someone into a millionaire within a few months. But he strongly believed that after 90 days of consistency, anyone would become stronger, more disciplined, and more confident. And that better version of themselves would have the power to create a completely different future. The most important message Thomas's story wants to share is this: success does not depend entirely on talent, starting point, or luck. It depends on the habits people repeat every day. Many people think only intelligent, wealthy, or well-connected individuals can succeed. But Thomas proved that an ordinary person can still transform their life through discipline and proper use of time. In the past, Thomas was like many others. He worked hard but had no direction, constantly feeling exhausted and trapped in poverty. What changed his life was not a miracle, but the decision to wake up earlier each day to study and improve himself. With just 2 hours every morning used purposefully, he slowly built a brand new future. The story also highlights the special value of quiet morning hours. While the world is still asleep, people can focus better, think more clearly, and work on the things that truly matter for their future. Those small but consistent actions create enormous differences over time. Thomas understood that success is not a final destination, but a continuous journey of self-improvement. Every morning he woke up on time, learned something new, or exercised. He took another small step closer to the life he wanted. Finally, Thomas shared one powerful message with everyone: your future is waiting on the other side of your morning alarm clock. He believed everyone has the opportunity to change their life, but the important thing is to start taking action today instead of continuing to delay it. Many people say they want success and a better life, yet every morning they choose a few more minutes of sleep and miss the chance to improve themselves. Thomas encouraged everyone to join the 5 a.m. club for 90 days. According to him, it is not just about waking up early. It is a serious commitment to your future. Every early morning is an opportunity to learn a new skill, read another book, exercise, or plan your life. Those small actions may not create immediate results, but over time, they produce enormous change. He also emphasized that the hardest thing is not the lack of opportunities, but the lack of persistence. During the first days, everyone feels tired and wants to quit. But if they push through that feeling, they become much stronger and more disciplined. Thomas wanted everyone to understand that no one can change your life for you. Only when you stand up, take action, and maintain good habits every day can you become a better version of yourself and create the future you truly want. Lessons learned. Small daily changes can transform an entire life. Early mornings are the most powerful time for self-development. Discipline is more important than motivation. Success is the result of habits repeated every day.